Hey everyone, welcome to part 2 of your functions quiz review. We're going to finish up looking at this function here and testing or determining whether these are functions down here. So, number 5, so swine flu, or in a more recent event, Zika, is attacking Mathfield. The function below determines how many people have the swine flu as a function of time. So t is the time in days, or S is the number of people in thousands. So, if I want to find S of 4, I simply take 4, substitute it in, so 9 times 4 minus 4, which is 36 minus 4, which is 32. But what does that mean? Remember that this is in thousands. So, S of 4 means after 4 days, since we're in T as time of days. After 4 days, 32,000 people have swine flu. That's it. And it will be the same thing with, well, this one's a little bit different. So find the T, find how many days when S of t equals 23. So S of t equals 23, so you say 23. Since S of t is here, 23 equals 9t minus 4. Add our 4, 27 equals 9t. Divide by 9. And t will equal 3, so 3 days. So what does that mean? After 3 days, 23,000 people have swine flu. Kind of morbid there. Okay. Moving on, we can go ahead and look at some of these. Which of the following relations or functions explain why or why not, and identify the domain and range? Actually, let's make this a little nicer here. Let's go ahead and look at, let's see if I can move it up just a little bit more for you. And there we go. So, remember, it's a function if there are no repeats. So, is this a function? Jim, let's call this x and f of x. Jim, Greg, Jorge, and Terrell. That is a function because there are no repeats. Why? No repeats. No repeat x values. Gosh, that pin. Repeat x values. The domain are all of the names. Little curly brace. Jim. Greg. Jorge. And Sorrel. And then the range, do it from least to greatest, so 65, 88, 91, and 94. That's it. So moving on to B, let's see. -2, 0, -1, -2. So this is not a function because -2 repeats. However, it still has a domain and range. So for our domain, we have least from greatest, smallest number is -2. Then we get, and we can start crossing out. Then we get -1. We get 0. Then we get 1. So no need to repeat. And then the range. You're going to have least to greatest 1. And then 3. Those go away. 4. And then 5. And that's it. Now, these are probably the harder ones, or hardest ones of them, because the domain and range can be a little tricky. But very simple if, get that down there. Let's see. Very simple to think about it. So, is this a function? It does pass the vertical line test because it only will go through once here, so yes. It passes VLT. Now domain and range, here's where it can get tricky. If I want to go left, okay, this arrow tells me that I'm going to go to infinity. So I'm starting at negative infinity. Remember, there's always a parenthesis for infinity. If I go right, then I also am looking at this arrow going right, and it will go to positive infinity. Now, be careful. The range. You start down here, and what's down here are these arrows. So, it starts at negative infinity, but as we go up, our graph doesn't go any higher than right here, which corresponds to that point on our y-axis, which is 0. And since we can actually go there, we use a bracket. So it goes from negative infinity up to 0. So let's look at another one. Look at D. Is this a function? No, it fails the vertical line test. So it fails DLT. Now domain, let's do it again. If I go left, what's happening? What am I looking for? This arrow, that tells me I'm going to negative infinity. If I go right, this arrow, what does it tell me? I'm going to positive infinity. Now let's talk about our range. Starting at the bottom, well, what do I have down here? Arrow, so it's coming from negative infinity. And I'll go up and up and up and up. Sure enough, I got an arrow up here. So that means that will still go up and up and up. So it's going to positive infinity. Okay? And that's it. E, I will explain why this is a function. I think you can handle the domain and range. This is not a function because, as you can see, it goes through these 2 points. No. Fails vertical line test. But also, if you took the coordinates here, negative 6, what is this, 5, negative 4, 3, negative 4, and there's that repeat x value, negative 2, 0, sorry about that, 0, 1, oh, sorry, my pen doesn't want to write now. There we go, oh, now it does. 0, 1, and 3, 4. As you can see, here's your domain, and there's your range, and do it from least to greatest. Alright, on to the last one. These are easy. These are mapping. Is this a function? Yes. There are no repeats, only one line coming from each x value. The domain, very simply, your x values, negative 3, 1, 5, and 7. That's your x values ordered from least to greatest. And your range is very simply 2 and 4. G. Your function here and here, we're going to say no, even though it's the same point. Say no, repeat ones. The domain, though, again, negative 1, 1, 5, and 9. And then your range, let's go negative 3, 2, 4, and 8. Looking at your y values. And then finally, H, this is an example of not a function because we have 2 lines going off of 4. So that's the equivalent of saying 4, 1, and 4, 2. So that is not a function. Repeat 4s. The domain, though, will still be 4, 5, and 6. And then the range is 1, 2, 3. Move this out of the way. And 4. And that's it. So if you have any questions, please see me early in the morning. But I think you'll make it through just fine as long as you go through, do your study guide, and yeah, pay attention. So good luck. I know you can do it, and you'll do great.